The story you're about to hear is something that's very incredible. It's about a very courageous woman that stood against all odds. She endured quite a lot through her journey, and the human spirit she portrays is one of great resilience. I met Josy about 4.5 years, and I never ever forgot her story. I was very early in my journey at that time, and ever since, when I'm in a dark place, I'm always thinking of Josy. Hi everyone, welcome to ROCK, which stands for Remembering Our Children. And today you're about to hear a very beautiful, incredible, sad, but courageous story from a courageous woman. Hi Josy, I always think of you often, and whenever I see you, I just feel much more stronger. So I want the people out there to hear your story, because your story is a story that is definitely worth sharing. And we want to do it for the people out there. Thank you for accepting, and you can start.
Thank you, Selena. You keep on talking about my story, but you also have a story. And thank you for the privilege. And like you talk of me, I often think of you. My journey began as a young child. I was about 12 when the most important person in my life passed, and that was my mom. So it was quite difficult. I had 3 more sisters. One was 15, then it was me, then one was about 8, and then the baby was 5 when my mom passed away. And she was very young, she was only 46. It had such an impact on my life. I sometimes think I felt quite deserted. But anyway, I finished my schooling. I grew up on a sheep farm in the Karoo. Fairly normal, except missing my mom. And then I got married very young, 21. And when I was about 27, my dad passed. And I also, another anchor in my life gone. I definitely went through the orphan syndrome. I now have no more home, no more parents, nobody to turn to. I was married. Anyway, I had 4 little boys, chop, 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 one after the other. And then I turned 30, and life was good, and I was healthy and happy and carrying on. And my second child, my Bruce, typical second child, he was lively, he was active, he loved the farm, he loved sport, loved playing rugby. He was a little hooker, he loved hooking a ball. He didn't really want to be at school, he never really liked school. He said we're wasting his time. He just wanted his dad to say, okay, you've learned far enough now. You can come to the farm. He loved his friends. He was surrounded by friends. He loved his brothers. They had so much fun, these 4 little boys. We were away for a holiday. We came back, and I noticed he wasn't so good. I took him to the doctor. Long story cut short, he was diagnosed with acute galloping leukemia. And by this time, we were farming in the Grahamstown district, and we had to leave everything, leave the other 3 boys behind, and have him at Groote Hospital. And a nightmare started. A nightmare that I will never forget. A nightmare that took everything that I had out of me to give. But I had to keep going because of him and because of the 3 boys back home. So off to Groote we went. There was a tremendous team of doctors and professors in charge of the child. I really felt safe that we were having the best treatment. And we never had good news. It just didn't work. And those 6 months at Groote were very difficult. I was there with him. My husband was on the farm, and the other 3 boys were at boarding school. They needed me. I felt like torn
Oh.
in half, but I just had to keep going. I did lift my eyes to my Maker, and He helped me through. Anyway, one day the hospital phoned to say I must come up there. They need to talk to me. I did have a terrible feeling about that. Went off to Grooteskier. By this time I had my own special parking there because I'd been there for so long. And I'll never forget standing at the bottom of those steps taking you into Grooteskier Hospital. This was November 1988. And praying that prayer that Jesus prayed on the cross. Father, if it is your will, let this cup pass me by. But not my will, Lord, your will. I had the interview with the doctors and the professors, and they said, nothing more they can do for Bruce. I must take him home. I was devastated, but that is what we did. We took him home, made him as happy and as comfortable and everything as normal as possible. And on the 2nd of January 1989, that morning, it was a Monday morning, he passed. I realized afterwards that the doctors and the professors were trying to tell me something, but I would not hear it. Mothers have a cunning way of hearing what they want to hear. And I always just took the bit of good news I've got. We'll try this or we'll try that, you know. I took that and I built on it. And I prayed on that. And then, yet, in the end, it was a good 6 months I was there. They told me to take him out. And as I said, we had a lovely holiday with the children and his friends and everybody around him. Every day I saw him deteriorate. And watching it was, I cannot tell you what it does to a mother, to her heart, to see a child just not making it. I used to think that an accident has got to be easier than to sit and watch it. But then, sitting watching it, I did have time with him. I had time to say goodbye. Lots of parents are denied that. I was granted that. We were all around his bed, we were holding him when he passed so peacefully on that Monday morning. And my whole life changed. All of our lives changed after his death. We buried him on the farm, and I remember the morning of the funeral, after the funeral. I remember getting out of bed and sitting on the side of my bed and thinking, how am I supposed to breathe? There was no space inside of this cavity of mine for my lungs to expand. My whole cavity was just filled with pain. The most impossible pain that a parent is asked to carry is the pain of the loss of your child. He's now the third important person in my life who has gone, and I'm telling you, nothing prepares you for that. No one prepares you for that. It is almost impossible to have to deal with. But there are factors that keep your feet on the ground. The first factor is your belief in your God. Strongly, I realized I had to focus and I had to keep there. And then your other children, you've got 3 more children and a husband and a home to run and a business. And you just keep going and you just put one foot in front of the next and you just carry on living. Okay, so when you lose your spouse, your life changes because often you've got to go find somewhere else to live. But when you lose your child, your life changes. Your whole outlook on life changes. I understand. I've been there. I've walked that road of grief. And it's a tough road. Grief work is tough work. But you need to carry on. You cannot sit still because you know what? Life carries on. You've got to carry on living. You've got to carry on being a mom. And focus on your other children. They are also there. They're important. And somehow you become more protective towards them. And you realize the mistakes you made for getting cross for nothing. Things that don't really matter. And you love your other children deeper and deeper and more unconditionally. You learn to love unconditionally. Anyway, and so we carried on with life. And a couple of years after that, my husband and I were involved in a terrible car accident. And he was a man. He was strong. He was active. He played cricket. He played tennis, and he lost that in the accident. His hip was smashed in. He never walked properly again. He was a long while in a wheelchair and on crutches, and a personality change. It was very difficult. Anyway, and a couple of, say, 2 years later, we were in a terrible, no, shortly thereafter, that's right, we were in a terrible farm attack. It was, we just got home from my husband being in hospital for like 4 months. We got home, and that night, the next morning, 2:45, there was a farm attack, and they shot me, not him. I had to protect him. I hid him away in a bedroom with my sister, and I said, just sit here, the two of you. I'm going to get us out of this mess. I had to run to our office to get hold of our Marnet radio to call for help. They had cut our telephone lines, and we didn't have cell phone comms in the house. And they came to our rescue, and the thugs escaped. But after that, my life there was never the same again, because I was filled with fear. I thought maybe they're going to come back and find us again. This is what your mind tells you. And about 3 months later, I actually had post-traumatic stress. You mustn't think that you go through a grueling experience like that without there being consequences. I was getting thinner and thinner. I withdrew. I was very quiet. My domestic said to me one day that I'd never talk to them and I never laughed. And I realized I needed help, which I went and I got. Yes, that happened. And then a couple of years later, we lost my husband due to a farm murder. It was in 2005, and at the end of 2006, I was diagnosed with stage 4 bilateral breast cancer. Another huge hurdle waiting for me. And those are terrible words, I think, also, to hear that you have got cancer. It's and then I had to go in and I did chemo, drastic chemo, for months, and then I did 38 radiations. And I was as ugly as sin. My hair fell out, my eyebrows fell out, my eyelashes fell out. Oh, that was a long, tough journey. It took me a long time to gather myself and get over that again. Okay, so of course when I was diagnosed with cancer, first thing I said to myself is, I reminded myself that I had spoken a vow over my own head that nobody's ever going to give me chemo, because I saw what it did to my child. I saw the agony that he went through. I saw what it did to all of us around him. And I decided, no. I'm not even going to have the op. I am just going to curl up and die. It's now my turn. But there again, I had family, I had grandchildren. I realized I've got to gather myself, put my hand in the hand of God, and let Him lead me through this. And it was not easy. Everybody who's done chemo will vouch for how terrible it is and how sick you are and how you vomit. And now my husband is gone and I've got to walk this road alone. Now I've got to go for my appointments, everything on my own. But my children and my friends took charge. They looked after me, they provided me with meals, they supported me, they pushed me through. I remember my oncologist calling me in and giving me a little lecture, the do's and don'ts of chemo and cancer and so on and so on. And the first thing he said to me, don't ever eat margarine, in case you people eat margarine, only eat butter. And then a very valid point he made was, avoid negative people. Surround yourself with positive people. Negative people are going to pull you down. You need people that are going to push and pull you through. So today, if anybody is diagnosed with cancer, I put my hand out and I say, I understand. Let me walk with you. Lean on me. I can help you. This is what you do. That's what you do. Number one, put your hand in the hand of God. Number two, listen to your doctor. And so it took me a long time. I think it took me 9 years to get into remission. But I am there now because I had to, over the years, I had to have a drip every 6 months. But ultimately, I've overcome all these. I have numbers. People say to me, how have you done it? How have you gotten here? And I say to them, I have a secret key. Secret key in my pocket. And my key has got a name. And the name of my key is forgiveness. I forgive as I go along. I forgive those that have hurt me. I forgive those that have stabbed me in the back. And I have asked God to forgive me daily. Forgive me. And inside of me, God has placed a happy heart. I'm a happy person. I enjoy helping other people, especially parents who are grieving and people who have been diagnosed with cancer. If that is my mission in life, then so be it. I have very good sympathy and empathy with people, and I have become a very good listener. And I've also learned to always ask other people, how are you? How are your children? How are you getting on? Okay, so very briefly, that is my story. I hope I've been able to touch even one heart. And I hope also to touch many more hearts. And if anybody would like to contact me anytime, I'm here. Lean on me. And I thank the Lord that He's brought me through this far. And I know He's going to take me still very far. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for watching. And now you see why Josy is such a special person to us. When I think of her and when I chat to her, I always see her as a person that's right on top at the lighthouse, shining a light for people like us that just started our journey, you know. And I always think, who can I help? Because I'm in such darkness myself and so much of pain. But then I realized as I was sitting and listening to Josy, is that no matter how dim your light is, it still shines, no matter how dim. And somebody out there will grab onto that. And I know that there are people that will remember her story. People that are not even there yet. But if anything happens in their life in the future, or somebody that you know is struggling, even if they didn't lose any children, a trauma can be on anything. based on anything in someone's life. We'd love for you to share her story as well. And I want to thank you for watching Rock, remembering our children, and please share it with as many people that need it. Thank you, and remember that we are doing this thing called life together.
Father, I place into your hands the things I cannot do. Father, I place into your hands the things that I've been through. Father, I place into your hands the way that I should go, for I know I always can trust you.
Father, I place into your hands my friends and family. Father, I place into your hands the things that trouble me. Father, I place into your hands the person I would be, for I know I always can trust you.
Father, we love to see your face, we love to hear your voice. Father, we love to sing your praise, and in your name rejoice. Father, we love to walk with you, and in your presence rest, for we know we always can trust you. Father, I want to be with you and do the things you do.
Father, I want to speak the words that you are speaking to.
Father, I want to love the ones that you will draw to you, for I know that I am one with you. For I know